But I grew up there and I really enjoyed it, and I went to the local state grammar school, grammar schools and comprehensives in those days. And in the next town, or actually a city, they fancied themselves on a city just because they had a cathedral, and it was technically correct, Wakefield. And in Wakefield there was a fee-paying grammar school called Queen Elizabeth's Grammar School, Wakefield. And I have friends who went there, but hated the school and the idea, just hated the idea of private education. And what also pissed me off about Queggs was that the motto on their blazer was Turpe Nescire. It is shameful to be ignorant. And that really, really annoyed me, because my attitude was, well, yes, it's shameful to be ignorant if you've had the opportunity to learn and you've spurned it and passed it up. But if you're just getting a better education because your parents can pay for it, sorry, don't go around bragging about it on your blazer. Now, I'm fully aware of the irony at this point of me conducting some kind of adolescent class warfare based on the idea and the fact that I could understand what the motto said on Quegg School blazers. But it did, it really, really annoyed me. And when I went to university, and I went to Oxford, the only reason I say that is because I got in on my A-level results, because some of the colleges were shifting the goalposts a bit to make it a bit more conducive for state school people to get in, right? And I remember my girlfriend at the time was staying at her parents' house, and her mother said to me, "Is it true that you got into Oxford just on your A-level results?" And I said, yes, I did. Well, that's hardly fair, is it? I mean, we pay a lot of money to give our children that unfair advantage of being able to deal with the entrance exam. And I said, yeah, I guess I've never looked at it that way. Learning diplomacy just because I enjoyed fucking her daughter. Anyway, reading back, I was about 14 or 15. I go into the W.H. Smith, which is next to the bus stop where I got the bus home from Pontefract to my village. And in that W.H. Smith's was a poetry section. And in the poetry section, I found one copy of T.S. Eliot's selected poems in paperback. And I thought, Thursday, when I get my paper round money, I'm coming back in here and I'm going to buy that. And I know I've probably lost some of the younger people. There's some concepts going on that are difficult for you to grab. First, the idea of buying books in a shop. Whoa. And also the idea that, you know, in the 70s, actually, if you had a job, you got paid money for it. Terrible times with the unions controlling the country in an iron grip. Anyway, so on the Thursday I walk in really excited all day to buy these selected poems, and as I'm walking towards the poetry section, there's a guy from Quegg's in his Turpe Nescire blazer about to pick up this one single copy of T.S. Eliot's selected poems. Now, I'm not proud of this. What I did was I walked up behind him, I shoulder charged him, sent him sprawling into the shelf. I picked up the book and said, Turpe Nescire. You didn't fucking know much about that, did you? And I took the book and I bought it, and I'm not proud of that. And that's also why I don't think that poetry should be on the national curriculum, because it encourages violence. Of course, big debate on